Welcome to the Value Proposition by the Fitness Business Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Pellegrino. The Value Proposition was created specifically for industry suppliers to showcase the value that they bring to health club owners and operators beyond their product or service. Today, we'll be speaking with the Cameo team to learn about their tailgating detection software, how they can help owners detect and monitor social distancing, mask wearing, contact tracing, and so much more. Joining us today, we have Carter Maslin, co-founder and CEO of Cameo, Larissa Dujansky, VP of Sales for Cameo, and Luther White, President and CEO of NRG Lab. Carter's going to start us off today with our 3 real minutes, or 3RM as we like to say here, to give us some background on how Cameo came to be. Carter, sir, where did this idea come from? Tell us more.
Well, it came from our working on everything related to local search at Google across Maps, mobile, Google Earth. And we were saying, why can you search the entire World Wide Web in 30 milliseconds, but you can't find anything in video without a lot of hunting and pecking? And that got us started on working on this real-time video search engine that tells you when things warrant your attention. And we started collaborating with Luther on common gym scenarios, like tell me when there's people unauthorized entering my gym, whether it's after hours or during hours. But that's the core of what Cameo does. It puts your existing cameras to work to tell you what warrants your attention.
So impressive. It makes your cameras work for you.
Yeah, exactly. Put them to work.
That's right. Carter, for listener, I say tailgating, you say tailgating. We all know what it means, but can you just explain what it is, and just in case someone isn't as familiar, and why it is such a problem for health club owners?
Yes, tailgating, it's not just the party before a football game. It's actually also known as piggybacking, but it's anytime there's people that come in through a door on the credentials of somebody else that has already badged in. So specifically, we count how many people pass through a door and then compare that count to how many people had a legitimate badge in. And if there's a discrepancy, then somebody came in the club without badging in. Sometimes it's people holding the door politely. So we'll talk about, there is still a need, even though AI is getting smarter and smarter, it still can't tell that it's a polite person holding a door for their wife or for their son. But it does take out of thousands and thousands of events, a quick summary of the ones that you should review. And so that's what tailgating is detection of unauthorized entries.
I love it. I love it. We still need to be kind and hold the door, just not at a 24-hour facility, right?
Or just badge in. Just say, I'm holding the door for you, but please, we call it, actually our automated email alert that we use for Cameo's own tailgating at our office says, hey, please be polite and secure. Just ask the person you're holding the door to badge in so that we're all accounted for. And that's where the technology came from, was just securing high security data centers and places where you really needed to make sure that everybody was authorized. And it just so happens that it's a great match for gyms.
I love it. That's fantastic. Now, Carter, where in the world does Cameo work? We're a global podcast. So is this a global product, or are we just in the US?
Yes, no, we're across 35 time zones, actually. We didn't know that 35 time zones existed until we looked at where our users come from. And there's actually 35 time zones that we operate in. The only place that we don't do well is in mainland China, because there's restrictions on, we're hosted on Google Cloud Platform, so we have some problems there if you're not in Hong Kong. But yeah, it's global. Based in San Mateo and Silicon Valley, but we operate global. It's a software as a service that runs anywhere in the world. We've got multinationals across many, many countries, and there's no restriction other than the Great Firewall of China.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Carter, for walking us through the 3RM. We're going to jump right into our conversation today. I'm so excited to learn more about Cameo, as I know our listeners are too. So, Carter, I'm going to start you off here. Do you know how much on average tailgating costs, let's say an average health club, in 1 year? Are there any figures around that?
I mean, we can go from the stats that we have aggregate. So if you look across globally rates, they average around 4% to 9% on a daily basis. So if you just take your total number of badge-ins, you can approximate that about 4 to 9% of those are unauthorized entries. That's just in aggregate. So that's mixed in with the polite people. So even if you cut that in half, you're looking at legitimate unauthorized entry at probably between 2 and 4 or 5%. So you can do the math on your own badge-ins and just multiply by how much you would charge as a guest pass, and then just assume that you could take a formula that would say, take my number of badge-ins, multiply conservatively by 2 to 3% times the guest pass rate, and that's how much incremental revenue would be from charging unauthorized guests. That's a rough overview.
Wow. Okay. It's great figures there. Thank you. Giving us some homework and some real concrete figures to work with.
There's a calculator on the at cameo.com/gyms. There's a calculator where you enter your assumptions on how many tailgating events, and it'll just calculate the ROI for you on that page.
Wow. That is amazing. Very cool. And the missed revenue from those memberships for the guest pass that have expired too, right?
Exactly.
Those in there.
Yeah. And that's apart from any other things like we were mentioning, the other uses around theft deterrence, where you've got a problem with dumbbells being taken. There's deterrent effect too. So that's important. So that's a rough metric for what we see in aggregate. It's going to vary by gym and by region. We see a lot of different behaviors in different parts of the country and different cities and stuff. So it'll vary by your culture locally, but that's in aggregate.
Wow. Awesome. And so club owners are probably wondering if Cameo works with their existing camera security system or if they're buying a system through Cameo. So can you explain that for us?
Sure. Cameo works with all existing standard IP cameras. So we don't sell cameras. We just connect your existing cameras to this AI that will assess what's happening. And it also connects with your access control system. So there's some that are out of the box real time, like OpenPath, Brevo, Twin Oaks, Linnell OnGuard. Those are all supported out of the box. But what Cameo does is it just listens to the video streams, analyzing them locally, looking for tailgating, and then alerts you when there's an incidence of tailgating. So it all works with your existing cameras.
Wow. I know everyone's going to love to hear that, because those are not fun to upgrade.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a lot is just not having to do the last ladder problem of having somebody physically mount a camera and stuff. You can just take the one that's already viewing your door and have that be the observer to count how many people are coming through the door, which is the unique thing that Cameo does. A lot of prior approaches had either specialized devices that needed infrared or stereoscopic vision, or you had to mount them directly overhead, which means you had an additional dedicated camera that was an added cost. The nice thing of this is the camera you already have to know what's happening at your door works to detect tailgating.
So cool. Carter, you teed me up perfectly, because the next thing I wanted to ask you is what happens when Cameo does catch someone tailgating, right? What is that alert? How is that reported or conveyed to the club?
So basically, anytime there's an incident of tailgating, an email gets sent to the staff of the gym. And you can optionally have that email sent to the member that's involved in the tailgating. So because we know the badge-in credentials of the person whose credentials were used to unlock the door, that person can get an email, and you can change based on your tone that you like for the gym. Some people say, hey, we're trying to make sure everybody's accounted for in the gym without unauthorized entry. Please make sure you've had the person that was with you check in at the front desk. Others might say, you've been charged a guest fee of $20 for somebody that entered with you. If you have a dispute, let us know. Others just review it before sending it to the member. So the nice thing is it's an email template that you control. You can decide whether or not it goes to the member or not, but by default, the gym staff get it and they can review the events, either triggered by the email, or they can just do a simple search in their browser. They can just say, show me all cases of tailgating, and you can review it once a day even, and just flag the legitimate ones to invoice or email.
Wow. And then so the email that goes out, I'm assuming that could be automated by the software system they're using, maybe some software systems. Am I on track there?
Yeah, Cameo itself sends the email. So basically, as soon as it detects the tailgating, let's say you have staff at energylab.com. They'll get an email that says there was tailgating event detected on the main entry of the Boston club and then it'll have a link that they can review the video with. So that's automatically sent from Cameo. Cameo makes it simple to detect unauthorized entry just by doing the search tailgating, which finds every time there's a mismatch between the number of people that badged in and the number of people that actually went through the door. If you have a query that's pinned, that becomes an alert. So now this is saying anytime there's a tailgating incident, please send me an alert. Same thing if you wanted to be alerted when people are without a mask. You can just do the search without mask, and that query too is pinned, while also providing a summary of the events where people entered without a mask. This data is collected for you automatically in these dashboards, so you can look at your rate of tailgating in comparison to the door unlocks across date and time to see where you might have problem areas. Like at 2 a.m., you've got a 33% rate of tailgating on August 29th, as an example. And the same data is available for mask compliance. So you can look and see what is the rate of people wearing masks, and do we have any problem areas or periods of the day where people are unmasked. When you have an incident like tailgating, those incidents can trigger automatic email alerts to either gym staff or the club members. So in this case, if you put a placeholder for user, Cameo will look up the email address of the person whose badge was used in the tailgating event and send them an email based on the template that you provide here. And that is inclusive of this link to the event, so they themselves can review the video event on their mobile phone. That's a quick summary of the way Cameo works with your existing cameras to put them to work to tell you when you've got tailgating, social distancing, mask detection problems, along with data and dashboards and alerts that can go to your gym staff or the members themselves. There's more at cameo.com/gyms.
And Carter, just to clarify, so when someone is caught tailgating, the alert is sent from Cameo to that club owner or manager's inbox, let's say, or Cameo system. How is the notification then sent to the member to let them know that they were caught tailgating?
So there's two ways. The automated way is if your email template has placeholder for the member that was involved, Cameo looks up the email address based on the badge number automatically, fills in that email address and sends the email to the member using the template that you specify. The second way is if you don't include the user, it only goes to the gym staff and then they have to forward it, but they'll still know who it is so they can forward to that email. So both ways work.
And they're just pulling those emails or that list from the club management software, I'm assuming.
Exactly.
Easy peasy. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so
Sure.
much. So one of the new features, Carter, is that you have brought to market is the ability to detect the mask wearing and proper social distancing. So can you walk us through how all that works?
Basically, what Cameo does is it turns a regular camera into a 3D sensor, much like if anybody's used Pokemon Go augmented reality games where they put objects and they know where they are in 3D space. That's what Cameo is doing with people that are moving through the scene. So as somebody comes in the door, Cameo detects the person and follows the person without any personally identifiable information, just to look to see whether or not their face is covered with a mask or not. One of the innovations in the way that Cameo does that is there's no biometrics stored. So there's a lot of controversy around the privacy of using biometrics. We don't do anything with biometrics, so there's no legal issue at all because we're just looking at the top part of a person on whether or not there's a mask detectable. All of that goes to dashboards that you can see your rate of mask compliance by hour. So you might have a problem that's only during certain hours of the day or only certain days of the week. And all of those cases are flagged so that you can search to review them. So if you have any hotspots or decide whether there should be some kind of fee for not having complied, all of those things are easy to automate because you've got the cameras doing the work to tell you when people have no mask.
Wow. And then if you want to get, are you able to get the name? So if I was not wearing a mask and I walk in, when it dings it, does it line up with the badge in as well to give you the name?
Yes, if you've badged in. So if you had so if it doesn't do it because it's not using face recognition to know that you're Sarah. It just knows that your badge was used, and then you would be able to have a little tip so that somebody reviewing it would say, oh yeah, that's Sarah because I can see her credentials were part of that video event. But it's not based on any face recognition.
Perfect. Awesome. Great explanation. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Last but definitely not least, would love to hear from you. Are there any other ways in which owners are using Cameo to manage their businesses that we have not talked about? We've done tailgating, mask wearing. What else can we use Cameo for, Carter?
One thing that's popular right now is occupancy insights. So you can use Cameo to say, let me know if there's more than 20 people in this room. And it can periodically sample to just report what your usage trends is on a studio area or a particular gym location. So they trigger automated alerts. So you can say, just alert me if we have over 20 people. And so also just in terms of the more common things around theft, one of the big problems people have are thefts of dumbbells. And so a lot of people are having cameras that have a view of the dumbbell racks just so that they know who took dumbbells. That's more frequent, I think, in gyms that are part of offices and things like that. But that's another just theft deterrent usage. And then there's the standard stuff around liability where they'll just want an archive of slip and fall claims or other kinds of security related claims. But those are some of the other uses.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Carter, for such a great intro and then background on Cameo and what you all provide to the fitness industry. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we are moving to my dear friend, Luther White with NRG Lab in Massachusetts. Luther, how are you?
Very good. Great to be with you, Sarah.
Oh, so good to have you on the value proposition. So I want to start you off with just telling our listeners how you found Cameo. What solution were you looking for? What problem were you looking to fix? Just give us a little background.
At Energy Lab, our primary focus has always been delivering convenience, experience, and results to our members. And one of the challenges we began to notice is how do we expand our hours of operation and still deliver a tremendous experience and be in control of our environment. And we sought different solutions with access programs. And we had 2 or 3 years ago gotten on board with a small business and had a reasonable solution. And then as soon as COVID struck, that business went out of business. And we immediately found ourselves scrambling for a partner. And fortunately for us in this circumstance, we were closed down like everyone else. And we had about 2 or 3 months to come up with a solution. And so our team got together and we went online and we started searching different organizations. And it was important for us to find more of a global partner, somebody that had a lot of experience in this type of product because it was fairly foreign in the gym world. Remote access has been very common, but as I talked to fellow owners, my manager would look at the video and decide, like, nobody's reviewing video. That's ridiculous. And people gave up on the tailgating. And our concern when we started talking about experiences, how do we control the experience within our clubs when nobody's there, when we're not staffed? And that became a major focus. And so we were very fortunate. We came across Cameo. We reached out to them. They have a tremendous background globally and in different industries. And they weren't that familiar with the gym industry from our first conversation. But it seemed like such a logical fit. We communicated with the entire team. They were spectacular. And we ended up rolling out this system, which has been awesome, to say the least.
So cool. I love hearing how customers found their companies that they're working with. That's great, Luther. Thank you. And, to owners and operators are listening to this saying, okay, I would love to know what security system you had in place that Cameo worked perfectly with. Do you mind sharing that?
Yeah, so I think the word perfect is always a challenge. I don't know if there is such a thing. We partner with ABC, like a lot of clubs there. So our door access system and our camera system was wired through ABC.
Okay.
And we spent a lot of time with Cameo, and they were incredibly gracious and patient to integrate with ABC. And we communicated with ABC because they weren't an original partner. And ABC was developing a product. And we basically communicated very respectfully with ABC saying, we are very happy with Cameo. So we will stay with them. And we hope you guys can come up with a solution. And a few months later, they were able to do that. So we were able to leverage all of the existing door technology and camera technology. As Carter mentioned, the most important thing for us was efficiency and savings. So when we partnered with Cameo, we weren't required to change out our camera systems, our door access systems. It was really a software switch, which was amazing because in the moment of COVID, everything shut down. We're paying attention to every penny that comes and goes from the facility. It really turned a major issue into a tremendous solution moving forward.
If I can say anything for my software days, it's the fact that you do not have to change out those cameras, and that system is a huge plus.
Yes.
Home run. Awesome. Luther, do you mind just giving us a little insight into the implementation process? Like how easy was it to get Cameo up and running, length of time, just any notes on that?
What I would say is if you're committed and you own the process, it was easy. I think one of the challenges a lot of club owners do is they reach out to a vendor and they expect the vendor to do everything. And what we've loved so much about the Cameo process is we've been able to share our experience and expertise from a club perspective, and they've been able to pour into us and share in their perspective from an access view. And so we've been able to work together, and it has just been extraordinary. The process itself was as seamless as it possibly could be. Primarily, we were shut down, but also we had everybody's engagement. We saw a challenge, we saw an opportunity, and we developed a solution in a very short period of time.
That is so cool. And Luther, you got some major props here, sir, on the mask detection and that really, you driving that process. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, so, as we talk about tailgating, one of the concerns obviously are people checking into your club and not paying their membership dues or getting a free workout. We've also talked a little bit about theft and destruction within the club, and Cameo works exceptionally well for that. And in the middle of the pandemic, we were harassed, is probably a fair way to say it, by the Board of Health, as every gym owner, I think, was. And some of it was very valid out of concerns for safety, but other of it was just politics. And for us to survive and to be proper stewards of our community and protect our members, we had to come up with a solution that we could protect the entry into our club when we weren't there. So we reached out to Cameo and said, hey, there's got to be a way we can come up with a mask tailgating system. And I would like to think it was probably 24, 48 hours. It was really quick. And so they came up with a program where when you checked into the club, if you weren't wearing a mask, not only were we immediately notified through email, you as a member were automatically charged a $25 mask fee. And so what happened is we would get the email, and initially we would immediately communicate, call the member. Most of our members have their cell phone, say, hey, we see that you're in the club. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, but you need to wear your mask. The $25 fee was a major deterrent. And we actually, in communicating with our members, received multiple, I'm sorry, I forgot, I didn't have it on when I entered the gym, but I put one on. And they still paid the $25 fee. So it turned out to be quite a tremendous tool for us to utilize to A, explain to our members, listen, we're taking these precautions very serious. We need your help. And it worked out very, very nicely.
Key thing you said there. You had the need and they met it and they had a solution in 48 hours.
It was incredible. It was incredible.
Good job, Carter and Larissa and the whole Cameo team. That does not happen very often.
Well, that's when you have SaaS as your delivery model, software as a service. These are the kinds of things you don't have to wait for these kind of software upgrades. You can do that instantly.
That is so impressive. So impressive. Amazing. All right, Luther, let's talk numbers here. Do you have any, like by what percentage was tailgating curtailed across your locations? Do you have figures on that?
Yeah. So, as I started thinking about where we were in terms of return on an investment. As business owners, it's so important to recognize when we invest, there needs to be a return. We have 3 clubs. We have roughly 6,000 to 7,000 members. And historically, in a tailgating world, nobody's counting the numbers. Everybody's assuming, everybody's being honest, or yeah, my managers are reviewing video. And it became very frustrating. And Carter had shared some numbers earlier that I think are pretty accurate. 5 to 8%, I think, is probably check-ins versus people that shouldn't be in your gym. And since we've instituted our process with Cameo, we've seen a drop of about 90% of the illegal entries or the tailgating entries into our facilities. And it gets better than that, because not only are we eliminating 90% of the problems, the 10% of the problems, we're collecting a $25 entry fee. And so on a monthly basis, we're generating about $1,100 in revenue from tailgaters. Now, there's an email that immediately goes out, and we're notified when there's a tailgating incident. Our camera system is set up so we can log in immediately and identify what the issue is. In some circumstances, we do send an email to the member the first go-round. But in some circumstances, we've had members that say, yeah, I was bringing a guest, I didn't care, no problem. And there's 2 members in particular that jump out of my mind that pay an average of $100 a month in tailgating fees. And they say, well, I don't care, I just wanted to bring my friend with me, and that's fine. But I know that we never would have collected that revenue had we not had this system. And for our existing membership base, there's a tremendous amount of security and confidence, knowing when we say we understand whether it's contact tracing, we understand who's in the facility at all times, and we can identify them. And that has really been, you talk about convenience, experience, results. Experience is all about that security, and this has been awesome for us.
That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Luther, thank you so much for those figures. That really is just so helpful for everyone listening today. And I think, Carter, while you're at it, let's come up with a solution to stop towel theft. How about that one? Alert the towel hanging out of the gym bag.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Luther, can you speak to the reporting, analytics, and any alerts that you are provided by Cameo? How does this help you keep a better pulse on your business?
Yeah, you talk about reporting. I think that is the most critical aspect for any operator. If you can track it, you can measure it. If you measure it, you can improve it. And when we first began discussions with Cameo, our concern was, how do we connect our operating systems with our daily usage? And what we're able to do with Cameo is get all of our reports in one location across all of our locations. And so we're able to track who, what, where, when, and how. And we can drill down to the second when somebody entered the club, if they entered it multiple times. And oftentimes we'll hear members say, well, I haven't used your gym in 3 months. And within seconds, we can say, well, you actually used it on Tuesday night at 7:05. And we can show you a picture of your entry. It's that simple. It's amazing.
If you didn't use it, someone else used your key card.
Well, we have a picture of them that we can show them. So it was them.
There you go. I love it. All right, Luther, Carter walked us through multiple uses of Cameo. So I know you're focused on the tailgating. We've talked about the masking. But if you were going to use Cameo for some weight theft management, social distancing, and or gym area usage, which one of those 3 holds the most value to you as a club owner?
The 3 pillars of our business, as I said earlier, were convenience, experience, and results. And Cameo touches every single one of those for us, both internally and externally. And the tailgating is worth itself alone, if that was the only thing you used it for. What we found, in addition to the social distancing and the mask scenarios, we have found tremendous value in protecting our facility. Whether that's a member throwing weights around, destroying our turf area, putting holes in walls, breaking mirrors. What this system has allowed us to do was, from a proof perspective, we can log into a particular room. We find somebody on camera that did the particular challenge. We then find out when they checked in, and we just have this entire log of evidence eliminating any doubt. And so we've had 4 or 5 incidents in the last 18 months since we've had Cameo across all of our locations. And we have not had any need to involve the police. Because when we've reached out to the member saying, you have damaged the walls in our group fitness studio because you threw a medicine ball against a sheetrock wall. And we email them a video of them doing it. And we email them a video of them checking into our club. There's no, wasn't me, wrong guy, I was never there. And we always get, you know what, we're sorry. How much is it going to cost us to make it right? And in addition to us recovering the expense, it's a tremendous touch point for our members to remind them we're paying attention. Your safety and security is important to us, and it's another chance to develop the relationship with our existing membership population.
So spot on. That is such a great point. And it's more emphasis on like, this is our gym to share. This is a community space. Take care of it.
Yes, yes.
Right? That's fantastic, Luther. All right, so now I know that we have an access control application that you want to explain to our listeners today. So do you mind just giving us a quick intro as to what the mobile app is and what it does?
Yeah, I think the challenge we had initially was how do we institute convenience? Because we had our scan cards and now we're going to have a control access card and the member's going to forget this. And how do we make this seamless? And we worked with Cameo, and immediately we were able to integrate the access process with our app. And one of the learnings that we had that was amazing was it helped us create efficiencies with our scheduling, because we were actually able to train all of our members across all of our locations. All they do is open up their app through Bluetooth. They press a button, and it automatically opens the door. And what this did is it eliminated a need for us to have that person at the front desk as frequently as we had them. It gave us greater control, it gave better access, and there wasn't fumbling with a key card or an access. You have your phone. Every member has their phone, and everything can be done with Cameo on your phone.
That is so cool. And what I think is so interesting about that, and the fact that it can be done on the phone, Luther, is that, I just want to clarify for our listeners, Larissa, you can jump in here too, is that a feature just from your club software app, Luther, or is that coming from your door system? What app is that we're talking about?
Yeah, it's a great question. So integration is so important. This feature is a Cameo feature that we've been able to integrate into our systems.
Okay.
So it's both an external and an internal tool. So
Awesome.
Externally, our members have access that we've taken the access point from Cameo and integrated it into our app. So from their perspective, it's seamless. It looks like Energy Lab. It's ours. We own it. From an internal perspective, whether we're monitoring our camera systems, whether we're monitoring our door access, whether we're monitoring our tailgate, we're doing that on our phone. So when there's an 11 o'clock breach and I'm in the car or getting ready for bed, I just look at my phone. I'm not logging into my laptop. It's so convenient.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. Awesome. Luther, your insights were so valuable today. Thank you so much. I think we're probably going to get some listeners being like, I need to talk to Luther about this. So that's awesome. Thank you so much.
I'm happy to share if anybody wants to reach out. I love helping fellow gym owners because plenty have helped me.
Absolutely. And you're one of the best I've ever seen, sir. So thank you so much. Appreciate you. All right, Larissa. So you are coming to us from the Cameo sales department. So I want you summarize for our listeners. Luther has just gone above and beyond about product features. Carter gave fantastic background on the company. So if someone's listening today going, I have to have this, I have to implement this in my club, walk us through a timeline, from the time I'm a club owner, I call you, I want a demo, then the implementation, to then when it works. What is that time commitment?
Yeah, so it's actually really simple. Usually, we get on a call, we chat for 15, 20 minutes. That's how simple it is for me to explain how it works and what it's going to do. And then I send you a simple email, 4 lines, where you create a Cameo account, literally one click. You subscribe to how many doors you want protected by Cameo. You pay with a credit card. We can talk about pricing a little bit later. and I ship you the number of boxes that you want. Each box corresponds to a door that we're protecting, 1 to 2 doors per box. And that's it. And it takes about a week for the box to get there, roughly. And then we schedule a call and we get the box up and running. Literally, you plug the box into power. It has to be on the same network as your cameras. We just need the username and password of your cameras. And the whole thing maybe takes 30, 40 minutes. And that's it. And you're good to go. We can also give you a little demo of it when you're using it, walk you through kind of cheats and tricks and things like that. If you want 20 minutes, you're golden.
From a client management perspective, ongoing questions, let's say I plug that box in and then 3 weeks later I have an issue. What do I do?
Yeah, so we just email support at Cameo and we get back to you that day.
Awesome. Awesome.
Really easy.
That's so great. Now, Larissa, how much does it cost to operate Cameo? I'll say per door, but if it's a different structure, you just correct me.
It is. You're correct. It's $50 a door a month.
I love it.
Yeah. $50 a door.
I love it. We're not making anything complicated at Cameo. Our solution, our pricing, easy.
Get a box, plug it in, 30 minutes, good to go.
That's so fantastic. Thank you. I would love for you to explain to our listeners how this works for an individual club versus a chain. Is this something that scales?
Yes, it scales really, really well, actually. We have chains of multiple gyms. So they'll have 10, 12, 15 gym chains using us. And it scales really, really well. Basically, same process. You subscribe, tell us how many doors, we ship you the boxes to the address, and that's it. And then the other great thing is that you can log into one account and see the doors of all of your chains. Even if they're 100 miles apart, what have you, it doesn't matter. You could see everything. The alerts can come in to one shared inbox too. You could also talk to Luther because he has a chain and he uses it. But yeah, it's super easy.
I love it. That's fantastic. So cool, Larissa. And if someone is listening and wants to learn more, is there either an email or a website that I can send them to?
There's both. So you can go to www.cameo.com/gyms. And then you can also just email me, Larissa at Cameo.
Perfect. LARISSA.
At Cameo. Or you can email info@Cameo if you can't spell my name.
Perfect. That's awesome. Very, very, very cool. All right. Well, thank you, all three of you, for joining me today for this episode. I do want to wrap up with one final question. Larissa, I'll let you go first since you're in the spotlight right now. If a club owner, how does a club owner know they have a tailgating problem? If they are not already aware, can we assume everyone has a tailgating problem, or is there something they can do to look into it?
So, first of all, I think most club owners have a tailgating problem. I really do.
They all do.
They do. All right.
Can I answer that question for you? Because I've been there.
Go for it, Luther. Was there ever a time you did not think?
Sit out in the parking lot of your club one night in your car and just monitor it for 2 hours. And you will be disgusted as an owner of how many people are entering your facility.
Carter, what do you got? Anything else?
Well, no, I mean, gyms definitely have it. We were shocked. If you just look across corporate America and office settings, as many as 40% of the people in the building aren't accounted for. So it's like gyms are actually better than regular office environments, but I guarantee you every gym has a tailgating problem, somewhere in the range of 2 to 9%. Unless they put up, those revolving turnstiles or something, which I don't think many people do.
Yeah, people can jump over those.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a problem and we can solve it.
You need that. Awesome. Well, thank you to all our guests today, Carter, Larissa, Luther. You all have just shared such valuable information. I'm so excited for our FBP family to hear this one. Thank you all for tuning in today to hear the value proposition for stopping tailgaters and protecting profits. Tune in Friday, October 22nd for our next episode with Sink Floor. And to show we walk the talk at the Fitness Business Podcast, All resources and links for today's show can be found at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, adding value to our FBP family. Until next month, what you leave behind is not what is engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others. See you next month, FBP family.